Kevin Sidebottom here, speaker, author, and trainer. And I go around and teach sales organizations and leadership teams how to build trust and influence with their customers and their team members to drive higher profits, more revenue, so everybody is successful. Today, let's talk about how you build trust with your customer. Now, as a salesperson or someone who's doing the customer representative telephone calls or somebody in service, doesn't matter what you're at, you have to build trust with your customers. That's right, on every interaction, because chances are they don't know you. That's right, they literally don't know you for the most part. Now, they know the salesperson if the salesperson's going in and meeting with them, but they typically don't know everybody from the team. So we need to make sure we're building trust at every interaction. Now, how do you do that? Well, there's a simple process that I created in my trustworthy training that walks you through everything you need to know to build trust. It goes from everything from where you're sitting down with them at, to the colors you wear, scents, everything that goes into it. For today's video, we're going to talk about 3 questions you have to answer for every customer. That's right. Doesn't matter if it's a service guy or if it's a guy who's getting ready to buy something. You got to answer these 3 questions. Okay? We're going to talk about the different things that affect trust and likability. And then we're going to get to the big part that we have to answer for our customers if we're going to be successful at building trust. The 3 questions we have to answer are, do I like you? Do I trust you? How can you help me? That's right, 3 questions. And those questions are asked by everybody in every interaction. You're asking it about me. If I'm sitting in front of you, I'm asking about you. And here's the deal. It takes about 7 seconds for us to answer those questions. So that means we need to show up if we're going to be successful. That means not having the Eeyore face and everything's so gloomy. We need to be on our game at all times. Have to take all the noise that's been affecting us and put it away and focus on the customer. Okay? So 3 questions. Do I like you? Do I trust you? And how can you help me? Let's get into the likability part, because if someone doesn't like us, well, they're not going to do business with us. And, well, we need them to like us if we want to gain some business and drive higher revenues, right? So let's get into it. What things affect likability? Well, there's a bunch of them, but the main ones for you on this video that's going to help you is to know where you're setting yourself up at. That's right. Where are you meeting people at? Are you meeting in a noisy subway or a quiet, relaxed environment so the people can be relaxed? Or we're meeting them on the shop floor where, tools and loud equipment's going off. Well, people will associate us with the environment that they meet with us in. That's right. If they're in a high stress environment, they're not going to like us and trust us because they're associating us with that. We need to make sure that wherever we're meeting with them, we know who they are, where they're at, and the environment as much as possible. We can't figure out everything. But if, hey, there's loud noises going, hey, can we move over to a different area so we can have a conversation where we're not yelling at each other? Those are things we need to make sure we're focused on. Okay? The next thing we need to do is focus on the colors we wear. That's right. I'm wearing like a light blue right here and a white. Well, the colors actually affect how people like and trust us. So my first interactions with them, light blues and whites, mainly because those are trust building colors. If we come in with a nice suit that's custom fitted and this big red power tie, well, people are going to associate us with being too arrogant, too powerful, and they're not really going to trust us as much. Again, we want people relaxed, because if they're on guard, well, their walls go up. And we don't want that. We want them to be as relaxed as possible, so that way they can have a good experience with us. Okay? Now, another thing that affects is scents. Now, I don't know if you've gone into a department store in a while, but if you do go into a department store, check out the women's department compared to the men's and the kids. You'll notice different lighting, different sounds being pumped into the environments, like different music, and different scents. Different scents affect people differently. That's right. So we need to make sure that we're cognizant of it. Now, when I go out and meet with people, I typically don't wear colognes. The reason being is, well, we don't know what their personality really is. I mean, we can't do a personality type study on them and know everything, like the protective index and all that stuff, unless we have a lot of time, which typically we don't. So we need to make sure that we're not trying to set them off unintentionally, right? When I went down to St. Thomas a long time ago, I was sitting there in this one room and it was just all these different colognes. I mean, tons. And they literally sat me down and looked at my, like, what kind of things I liked. If I was sporty or if I liked to go out and do, different kind of cocktail events, or what are the different things I associated with and what I like to do. And that's how they matched up my colognes. Well, if our cologne doesn't jive with the customer, what's going to happen? It can set them off. And again, if we set them off, they're not going to like us. They're not going to trust us. So we're not going to be able to move forward with them. And we need that because we need to be able to have those conversations and ask questions about people. Now, we definitely need to be learning about people, not just trying to sell them stuff. Far too often, whenever we're sitting in front of a customer, most salespeople jump right into what's your name, who are you, where you've been, and then right into the sale. Like they're going to kill something. They're hunting. And unfortunately, sales is not like hunting. It's more like farming, where you actually have to cultivate the ground. You need to plant the seeds. You need to water it. You need to fertilize. You need to pull out weeds before you can actually harvest. It takes time. And the bigger the deal, the longer the time it takes. So you need to be able to build trust. And if we don't have time to learn about them before they come and meet with us, like on social media where you can actually learn about them quite a bit, well, then we need to start asking questions. And I always have a CRM system set up where I'm going to learn about people. Because the more we learn about people, the more intentional we are, the more trusting they're going to be with us because they know we care. So typically, I actually pull out a piece of paper and I write down names, events, different things that are important to them, just so I am constantly learning about them and intentional. Because the more intentional we are, the more laid back and trusting they become. So I teach in the trustworthy training the house analogy, how you really focus your mind on going through these steps and asking people questions. But main thing you need to know is the situation. What situational questions can you ask? What are the issues? And what are the ramifications? Because if we know what the issues are, what their situation is, and what the ramifications are, we can actually steer them in the direction of the solution they need. Remember, that third question is, how can you help me? Well, if we're answering that question by understanding the situation, the issues, and the ramifications, guess what? Yes, we're going to build trust. And that's what we want because we need them to work with us and give us more information so we can provide them the best solution. We're not just going to pull the trigger and assume anything because when we assume, you know what happens. We need to make sure we're intentional and learning about them. By doing so, you're going to gain trust. Okay? So, do I like you? Do I trust you? And how can you help me? Answer those 3 questions. You're going to build trust. All right? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I've got my contact information, how to get a hold of me, my website and everything down below. If this video was helpful, hit like, share, subscribe, send it to somebody that this might help. That's what I'm doing these videos for, is to help people. Okay? We'll see you next time.